Hello, this is Daniel Mart, and today I'm going to be reviewing Avengers: Age of Ultron. So yeah, my most anticipated movie this year. Yeah, number one. From what it seems, everybody's most anticipated movie of this year is Star Wars, but not for me. Yeah, I'm Age of Ultron. So yeah, this movie stars Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy Renner, James Spader, Samuel L. Jackson, Don Cheadle, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Elizabeth Olsen, Paul Bettany, Kobe Smolder, Anthony Mackie, Haley Atwell, James Spader, and Stellan, whatever, Skarsgård, Idris Elba, and Linda Cardellini, and Claudia Kim, and Thomas Kretschmer, Andy Serkis, and I'm pretty sure, and Henry Goodman, and I'm pretty sure that's basically everybody in this movie. Oh my gosh, yeah, and Josh Brolin as Thanos at the end. Such a great movie. So yeah, sorry. Before I begin, no 10-second spoiler warning as usual. For those of you that actually watched the movie and haven't already, stop the video, go check it out, and come back here and watch the rest of this review. 10-second spoiler warning as usual, starting now. Okay, so 10 seconds are up. So for those of you that actually watched the movie and haven't already, please don't comment down below or be messaging me, and then I'm gonna give you fair warning because as usual, I did. So yeah, did this movie deliver? Oh my gosh, this movie delivered like a fucker. So basically, in this movie, as usual, quick synopsis, and then the rates. So basically, in this movie, you have Tony Stark and Bruce Banner, and they basically have created Ultron. Mostly Tony Stark, but Bruce Banner helped in the process as well. They basically created Ultron, and Ultron almost immediately right off the bat has managed to download everything in history that's online, and basically comes to the conclusion that humans are bad, they are a plague, and that they must get rid of. He teams up with Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, and those have been experimented, and that explains why they have the powers, which I'll get to in a second. And all three of them want to get rid of the Avengers and everybody else in the universe. Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver eventually find out Ultron's true plans, and then they decide to side with the Avengers, and now you have a battle in Wakanda. Yeah. Okay, so very quickly on Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. They were for this, from what it seems, for the MCU, for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they have been experimented on, which makes sense because they really can't, since as you know, they can't use Evan Peters, who was Quicksilver in Days of Future Past. Hence why they got Aaron Taylor Johnson. So what they did is basically they can't mention the fact that they are from the X-Men. They know the X-Men. They can't mention that. They can't mention Magneto, who is their father, and they can't mention the fact that they are mutants. So I really do like they were experimented on. Most of us thought they were probably going to be introduced as Inhumans, which would have been another plausible theory and introduction, which I would have been completely okay with, but they didn't. They just said they were experimented on. Now, Inhumans would have been a little bit better, I think, especially with what's happened in the TV show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Again, I don't watch it, but I know what's going on. I stopped watching after like the first 10 or 11 episodes of season 1, and I really regret that option. I need to catch up to it one day. So yeah, I thought I really did like the explanation for that. Overall, oh my gosh, was this movie mind-boggling awesome? Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm not gonna start the acting and the writing. Of course, that's awesome. I'm not even gonna complain about that. The acting and the writing are obviously amazing, great. Let's get on to it. So special effects. Now apparently from what it seems like, or from what I've heard, this Marvel movie has the most special effects since Guardians of the Galaxy, which really that was last year. So this one apparently has the most special effects since that, and they basically used the special effects very well done, in my opinion. The special effects here are great, in my opinion. Now there are a few times where the special effects are a bit obvious, and it does take me out of the movie a bit, but overall the special effects are fantastic, and it really is needed when you have a whole town being lifted up in the air, when you have a helicarrier there and when you have Iron Man, a War Patriot, whatever, Iron Patriot, just killing off Ultron robots. You have Vision right there. You have Thanos at the end credit scene, which I'll get to later. So yeah, special effects on top. You also have the Hulk, also pretty good. I think the biggest part of this movie, I think the biggest core of this movie is just the character development, in my opinion. Yes, the action is good even from the start. You have the action. Oh my gosh, I could go on with the action all day. Also, because in the start you have you're introduced to Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, and they look pretty cool in my opinion. But I think the character development in the film is a major plot point because they are setting up for some of the other movies, for Civil War, for Ragnarok. They're setting up for Infinity Wars, Black Panther, a little bit with Doctor Strange. They're also setting up for Ant-Man, which comes out in a month. So setting up for a bunch of movies. And I think they do a really well done, in my opinion, because they're just setting up for everything. You'll get Civil War, Infinities, Ragnarok, Strange. They're all setting up for that. Maybe even a bit with Inhumans if you want to stretch it that much. So they are doing a lot of setups, and at times it is a bit obvious in my opinion. But you think about it for a second. Oh, they're setting up for this, but how do you say? You could look at, like, when you see a particular scene that you could sometimes you could tell they're setting up for this. They're setting up for this, but they do it in a way that really doesn't bother you. Unlike a few other movies that have done this, for example, Iron Man 3, sometimes they set up for stuff and it's a little bit obvious and it bothers me at times. So yeah, so I really do like it now a lot. Now, one of the biggest parts of this movie is the character development. They develop a bunch of characters that normally wouldn't get developed. Some of the primary examples here will be Hulk, or Bruce Banner, Hulk or Bruce Banner, Hawkeye and Black Widow Quicksilver, Vision, and Scarlet Witch are the major people in which they give development to. We find out that Hawkeye has a family. He has 2 children and a wife that care for him. So it's pretty cool because normally we just thought of him as badass, who knows how to shoot a bow and arrow basically. But now we know he has family, so I guess it is a bit more impactful if he were ever to die, which he came really close to dying a bunch of times throughout this movie. Oh my gosh. But I'll get to that later. Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, they're actually pretty good in my opinion. I will be doing a discussion topic or a versus matchup between the X-Men Quicksilver and the MCU Quicksilver, to see which one's the better Quicksilver. I'm also going to be doing an Avengers 1 versus Avengers 2, which one was the better movie, because this is something that needs to be discussed, which is the better movie. But Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, I really did enjoy them. They start off with Ultron. They start off on the side of Ultron and then realize what Ultron's going to do and go off and aid the Avengers. And I thought that was just really great character development, in my opinion. And I think they had the best story arc, character arc within a movie we've seen in a long time. I mean, all the characters here, they do get development, but we more or less know their arc. But this is their introduction. I think Scarlet Witch had a stronger arc. I'd say the same thing for Quicksilver, but if you watch the movie, you know what happens to him, which I'm going to get to in a second too. So I think they were really strong characters in the movie, and I really did enjoy them in the movie. Vision, he was actually pretty fun. Vision, he was pretty cool. This is one scene where I think everybody just shit their pants. People, the characters in the film probably shit their pants, and the audience probably shit their pants. There's this one scene where once Vision is created, he's saying that, okay, we must basically get the job done. He basically picks up Thor's hammer and hands it to him, and everybody's just there like, oh my gosh, what the fuck? It was just maybe one of the most funniest scenes. And obviously, Age of Ultron, how can I forget Ultron? He was a great villain. He was a great villain. I'm thinking of doing a Loki versus Ultron. Who was the better Avengers villain? Because he's on par with Loki, and that's pretty hard to do. Because I think Loki may be the best. Loki may be the best villain we've had in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, followed by maybe Winter Soldier and Ultron. Because I mean, when you really think about it, none of the other villains from any of the Avengers films really stand out. I mean, Ronan from Guardians of the Galaxy, he was okay. Abomination, he was okay. Whiplash, he was okay. Mandarin was eh. Red Skull was okay. Who was even the villain for the first Thor? That one I don't even know. Who was the villain for the first Thor? Was it Loki? Was Loki also the villain for the first Thor? I don't even remember that one. I think I don't want to say Loki. And then Malekith was. I know Malekith was for the second Thor, and he was okay. But I don't. Was Loki also the villain for the first Thor? I don't. I really don't recall who the villain was for the first Thor. And then Iron Man. I don't remember who the villain for the first Iron Man was. I mean, I don't remember his name, but I remember how he looks like. But yeah, I think him, Winter Soldier, and Loki are the most memorable villains we've had in a long time. Well, Winter Soldier came out last year, so there's that. And he was really funny. I thought he was gonna be really dark, and he turned out to be really funny. But however, when you are the product of Tony Stark, you know how more or less that was gonna end up. And there's this one. He has so many quotable quotes or whatever that came out. He has so many funny quotes. For example, when he's getting the vibranium or whatever, the film Wakanda, he's saying that he says something like the most important metal or the most hardest metal in the universe, and humans use it to make a frisbee, which I was like, oh my gosh, that was funny. That was funny because Captain America's shield, or he's like, he says something like, keep your friends rich and your enemies rich, and see which one ends up being which, or something like that. I'm pretty sure I'm paraphrasing, but those are some pretty good quotes as well, and I really do like them. Also the fight scene with the Hulk versus the Hulkbuster versus Hulkbuster versus Hulk. That was just funny. There was, I think one of the funniest scenes from that specifically was when you have the Hulkbuster, Tony Stark in it. He's just punching the Hulk with this like wind up arm. It's like, go to sleep, 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 and go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. It was just hilarious. So yeah, there was a lot of wit in this movie that was so humorous. It was hilarious. Again, the action scenes were incredible. They were funny, and also there's a lot of human scenes. As I said before, they developed Black Widow and Hawkeye. They also developed the Hulk, and you also had this relationship between Hulk and Black Widow, and I thought that was really sweet and really cool to see, because they kind of hinted at it through the trailers and also like in interviews and whatever. So I really did like how that kind of panned out. So that was also pretty cool in my opinion. That was also pretty sweet. Now I will admit that this movie does have issues. As much as I am praising it, this movie does have a few issues. I think the biggest issue in this movie, however, is the fact that it does feel formulaic at times. It does feel very formulaic at times. It's like for example, you have the big action scene at the beginning. You have the enemy learning their stuff about the Avengers. Similar to the first one, you had a big action scene at the start. You had the people learning about. You had the enemy. Then you had the enemy learning about the Avengers, learning their enemies. Then setting up for what to happen to conquer the world or destroy it or whatever, and then you had a huge ass action scene at the end. And same thing with the first one. In the first one, the huge action scene at the beginning was Loki's introduction, where the shield when the shield facility was imploding on itself. Then you had Loki being captured by the Avengers and stuff. Learning his enemies alongside, Barden. You had a small action scene in the middle. Same thing with Age of Ultron. You had a small action scene in the middle. In the first one, it was the one in the helicarrier. And then you have a few more moments right before it leads up to the huge action scene. And here's the same situation. You had the huge action scene where it gave us the introduction to Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, which was actually pretty well done in my opinion. Then you had them creating Ultron. Ultron learning his enemies. You had a small action scene in the middle with the Hulkbuster versus the Hulk, which is still pretty cool. You had the lead up to it, the more human sides and the more development sides, and then you had a huge action scene at the end of the movie with Wakanda. So it is a bit formulaic. In that, and I think that's a major negative of the movie, that it is formulaic. Aside from that, it was just an incredible movie. It really did live up to the expectations I had for it. Quicksilver, really sad to see him go, especially in this one movie. Yeah, he dies, and it's not like they're gonna bring him back. And then actually they could. They brought back Coulson in the Agents of Shield, but I don't think they're gonna bring him back yet. Yeah, he dies. He sacrifices himself to save Hawkeye and this random little kid, and then the second he dies, Scarlet Witch just loses her shit and just basically like with her energy waves, just like takes out like almost half a dozen robots, Ultron robots. And yeah, I mean the Vision. I think out of all the characters, Vision has to be probably the weakest character in this movie. Vision was still really well done in my opinion. Vision was really good, but I don't know, something about Vision I just couldn't get completely on board. I don't know why, but something about Vision just kind of bothered me. I don't know exactly what. Um, I don't know. Aside from the fact that it is a bit formulaic, I think my only other problem would have to be Vision because Vision. I don't know, something about him. I don't know if it's just the way he looks or something. There's something about him I just really don't like. I mean, I really do enjoy him seeing the movie, but like when you see it, when he's just talking or something, something about him just kind of bothers me. I don't know what. Maybe it's a possibility that he has a mind gem in him, and that we know that Thanos is eventually gonna rip it out. Then he may die. Um, who knows? Yeah. And then speaking about the end credit scene, oh my gosh, the end credit scene is probably another discussion topic I'm gonna do. Because I've heard a lot. I've had really mixed reactions of the end credit scene. A lot of people hate it or dislike it, and then there's a lot of people who really do love it. Actually really did enjoy the end credit scene. It was really cool, really badass in my opinion. You basically have Thanos, and he says, I will search for the Infinity Gems myself. We already know we already know of four of them: the Tesseract and the Mind Gem, and there's two more that have appeared. I think one of them's in the Mind Gem, the Tesseract. One of them was in Guardians of the Galaxy, and I believe the other one was in Thor 2 Ragnarok. Yeah, in Thor Ragnarok. Not Thor Ragnarok is the third one. Fuck, Thor 2, Thor the Dark World. So we know where four of them are, and one of them's in Vision's head. Guardians have the other one. The Tesseract is somewhere with Shield, and who knows what Thor did with the fourth one. So we just need to find out where the other two are, and I believe the last two gems to find are the Soul Gem and the Time Gem. I know the Time Gem is we still need to find the Time Gem. Then it's either the Soul or Mind Gem. I'm not completely sure. I'm not completely sure. It's one of those two, or maybe it's neither. I don't know. I know for sure the Time Gem is still somewhere out there. I think one of those gems will appear in Infinity Wars, one of the Infinity War movies, and another one. One of them will probably appear. One of them will probably appear in Doctor Strange, and the other one will probably appear in the Infinity War movies. So yeah, overall, oh my gosh, fantastic movie in my opinion. Really did live up to the expectations. So far, it is the best movie of the year. It definitely is the best movie of the year. Then again, most of the movies we've seen up to now were pretty bad. Were either pretty bad, were pretty average to decent, and then the ones that were pretty good, like really good in my opinion, would pale in comparison to this crap. This isn't crap. Fuck, but pale into comparison into this what we have so far. I think the only movie that could touch this will be anything within the Oscar season. Will be either Star Wars or any other Oscar season contender movie. I'm just putting it right out there. Any Oscar movie or Star Wars will probably be able to touch this. Because up until now, from the movies I've seen, the only movie I could think of that could touch this is the one Bollywood film I saw earlier this year, Shami Top. And looking at it, it really doesn't. It pales in comparison to this. Such a fantastic movie. I'm probably gonna see it 5 times before it leaves theaters. Likely more. And I remember, and yeah, right before I went to watch it in theaters, I just grabbed my Avengers DVD, put it up in my TV, and watched the Avengers. So yeah, by the way, Captain America. Such a great movie. Yeah, from great character development to great action scenes, great special effects. They humanized all the characters a bit more. Gave us more progress, or gave us more. They laid out more of the plans for some of the upcoming movies. Just really great. As I said before, my only complaints are the fact that it is a bit formulaic, and Vision. I don't know what about him, but something I just don't really. Something about Vision. I don't know. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, and 6 being decent, I'd give this a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. 9.25 out of 10. I'd give it the other 75% or 0.75%. but it's too formulaic, and still something about the Vision just bothers me. I give it a full 10, but even after that, being formulaic, it bothers me. It bothers me when something's formulaic. That's the problem, and also Vision bothers me. I would have given it a 9.5 if it wasn't so formulaic. And Vision just kind of brings it down a bit more. So 9.25 out of 10 is what I'd give this movie, but still such an incredible movie up until now. So yeah, so out of this movie, I'm probably going to be doing a Quicksilver versus Quicksilver. Which is the better Quicksilver? Yeah, so a Quicksilver versus Quicksilver video. I'll probably be doing an Avengers 1 versus Avengers 2, a Loki versus Ultron, who is the better villain, and probably was the me discussing the end credit scene, which is the one with Thanos. So yeah, that's basically it for this review. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I do movie reviews, TV show reviews, and comic book reviews. Comment down below if you haven't seen the movie already. No, that came out wrong. If you haven't seen the movie already, why not? And if you have, comment all that down below. Let me know your thoughts on the movie. Aside from that, like the video, share on Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, or whatever you guys prefer. If you guys want to see my review for the first Avenger movie, click over here, annotation, somewhere over here. And aside from that, that's basically it for now. This is Daniel Mart signing off.